Pozemka is a well-known durian lover, so if you like her, maybe you have to become durian yourself. Or maybe if you understand her kid, she'll appreciate you better. So let's do that. The typewriter has a default redeployment time as well. It starts up the timer when you retreat the typewriter, or if it retreats itself. It can stay on the map for 25 seconds and the redeployment time is 40 seconds. In the stage that you currently see me playing, I'm using Pozemka's skill whenever she needs it to kill these higher HP enemies, like the snipers and the casters. Later, as the stage progresses, there are these big shielder guys, these cannoneers who keeps bombarding the towers. They do have a much higher defense, which this is an opportunity for her second talent to come into play. So the typewriter also reduces the defense of any enemies that it hits. A Pozemka without modules will have the typewriter reducing the defense by 18%, but if the typewriter is placed in the 4 adjacent tiles around Pozemka, it will actually reduce the defense by 23%. So in the case of how I'm playing it right now, whenever that defender guy is right in front, I will place the turret in front and then have a skill on in order to do a lot of physical damage onto him. But you can see that as soon as he walks out of the typewriter range and that defense down is peeled away, it gets a bit harder in order to kill him. If you want the highest amount of damage from Pozemka, then your positioning of Pozemka will matter a lot. So let's try to use Pozemka's skill 2 as a form of support. Pozemka's skill 2 states that the turret has a lower redeployment time or 60%. At M3, it's going to be down to 50%. So half the timer, instead of 40 seconds, it becomes 20 seconds. It's a pretty good pairing for fast redeploy units, like for example, maybe Kirin, Yato, Phantom that you might be using, and they deal physical damage. It's pretty good for the turret to support and lower the defense so that they can deal more damage. In order to use her skill, which is an auto recovery skill, is quite fast to charge, you do need an enemy within her range. When there is an enemy, both herself and the turret will shoot 3 times for a certain amount of attack. In the case of mine, it's skill level 7, so it's going to be 200% attack. It would be higher at M3. So when there is Patriot that is within the range of both Skadi and the turret, I basically use Pozemka's skill twice in order to make sure the turret helps to deal just a little bit more damage, but the main priority is for the turret to lower the defense so that Skadi can dish out more physical damage with her high physical attack. So as you can see, it's just the perfect amount that Patriot is getting down into his second phase. But at this point in time, there are lots of people who is swarming in and Mountain might not be able to handle the pressure. So with Pozemka's skill 2, I simply turn it on whenever I realize that Mountain isn't able to handle those incoming enemies. She can help to just do a huge amount of damage onto them, and then that way Mountain's block count won't be too pressured. Then now that Patriot is back up, then I can use Skadi again to do the big amount of damage while also trying to lower his defense. Although his defense is not as high as his phase 1, but it's still good to 1, get just more damage in play, and also just to allow Skadi to hit him even harder. An inherent weakness that I find with her skill 2 is that it can hold charges but just up to a maximum of 2. It's not quite like some of the other charge holding units where they can hold 3, maybe a maximum of 4, but usually 3 is the sweet number, and Pozemka is missing that sweet number. I wouldn't suggest that this is a skill that you focus on. It's quite rare that you find really good timings of using this skill. And finally, let's show you her skill 1. Her skill 1 is considered an AFK skill. It's offensive recovery, it will automatically charge an unlimited duration. It is considered a crit chance skill, so all that it kind of does is it's still a single target attacking one. There is a percentage chance, 30% at rank 7, 40% at M3, for you to increase the damage by a much bigger amount. The peak of the attack is higher than skill 3. So there is a rare scenario that skill 1 works better than skill 3, and that is if the defense of the enemy is super high, to the point that skill 3 cannot pierce it even with the turret dealing some defense down. But that's really rare in a sense, and the problem is the attack speed isn't that high as well on her skill 1. So I don't think you would use her often as an AFK unit. There are other AFK skill units that you would probably enjoy to use in the game. Don't try to build this particular skill, I would say. You can just use skill 3 and you will work just fine. So let's come back into skill 3 and show you how to best use it. Remember that I stated Pozemka's skill 3 is most effective if you are letting her attack someone within her frontal 3 tiles. So in the case of this stage, I've placed her in a way where she's in direct contact with the boss. So this boss has a mechanic where she needs water splashing at it in order for it to have lower defense, to be kind of weaker. So I've basically done a bit of a split box, right? The moment he's in between the 2 tiles, he's within the water, he's being blocked by Shu, he's in Pozemka's range, and he's also able to be hit by the turret. So whenever I turn Pozemka's skill on, both the turret and herself are basically getting the bigger damage up since it's right in front, and they also have that defense down coming in, making her a good solo DPS onto this particular boss, while Saria and Shu and Shining are just holding on to him in order to make sure that it stays there. It is very important for you to get used to the turret placement, making sure that you optimize it as much as possible so that you can use all that damage bonuses, right? In this case, I can't place a turret right beside Pozemka, so I don't quite get that benefit of a bigger defense down. But if you can find a better scenario to do so, then make sure you try to always have the turret right beside Pozemka. Otherwise, you can use it just like how it is over here, almost like a fast redeploy. You put it wheresoever that you need it to happen. So with just 3 skill users of Pozemka, you can see that the boss is being taken down, and along with all the other smaller enemies that spawn also, Pozemka is able to handle just that. So as you've heard me say a lot within this video, the skill to build is going to be skill 3. Don't try to build on skill 1 or 2, you can if you really love her, but I would rather your resources be placed on something else. If you want to check out the stats of the turret, you can do so by clicking on summon to see the attack value. When it comes to the module for Pozemka, both modules are actually good. So module Y allows her to hit enemies that also have physical dodge, so she can ignore it, which is good on certain events as you would think of. Then for module 2, the redeployment time of herself gets reduced, which is not that impressive because you kind of need it on the turret and not herself. But if you choose to increase the level, I would say it's worth it if you're trying to main Pozemka, because the defense value goes down even more, right? If you get it maximum to mod 3, it's going to be 28% instead of the 18%. And if you have the typewriter placed within her adjacent tiles, it doesn't have to be the 4 adjacent tiles anymore. It can be the 8 adjacent tiles this time. The effect will be increased to a maximum of 33%, which is nice to have. Not that effective against low defense enemies, because if you lower the defense of very low defense enemies, what difference does it really make? But on high defense enemies, pretty good to enjoy those bigger amount of attack increase. So this one's worth to mod 3. This one I would say it's okay, but it's quite rare that a lot of people are using it, because what it does is that the typewriter, the turret, is going to be much stronger. So it's okay if you're not putting the turret around her tiles basically. You're trying to put it somewhere else in order to do damage onto an enemy, maybe because you don't want anybody to get hurt, right? Since the turret can't be attacked. Makes sense for that. But I think this module will be less used as compared to Module X. So Module X, give it mod 3 if you want to, otherwise just keep it at 1 and 1 in terms of building Pozemka. Okay, so you've understood how to use your Pozemka or how to build Pozemka, and I hope that you can enjoy to use her. May you love her even more, and I'll see you guys in another video. Alright, bye bye.